We're back to the continuation of the story from minutes ago. If you missed any, catch it on the Morning X podcast. This is the best of the Morning X with Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy. 99X.
Howard Speedy Berg.
Howard Berg is the self-proclaimed world's fastest reader, because I'm guessing they don't actually have like an Olympic event where you get to prove it, but, you know,
I was in the Guinness Book in 1990.
Oh, really? Well, that is pretty legitimate.
Mine's more psychological. I could actually show you exactly how it works.
Okay, show us.
Please do.
Okay. Well, I went to graduate school. I took courses in reading, and what they found was one of the key things that helps us to understand text is a map of the world, and I'll show you how that works.
All right.
If you're reading a sentence and it says the woman wore a red dress, you understand it because you know what a woman, what a dress is, and what red is.
Right.
If I said, look at the Agilis Phoenicius, now you don't know it because it's not in your map. Not
Right.
part of your life experience. What I'm going to do is read a sentence, or actually a group of sentences, that haven't got any references. It's called schema, anything that you could relate to. And then I'm going to ask you to tell me what it's about.
Okay.
Then I'm going to put one word on top of it, which is a title, and watch how instantly your brain makes sense of the nonsense.
Okay.
Here's the original text.
Okay.
This is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home. But you could always go somewhere else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it. This is a major mistake. It may cost you quite a bit of money. Right now, it's not that clear what I'm talking about. It's kind of vague.
Right.
Listen again. This time I'll put on a title, and watch how your brain instantly understands it. Laundry. Laundry, this is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home. You could always go somewhere else if it's necessary.
Okay.
Beware of overdoing it. This is a major mistake. It may cost you quite a bit of money.
All right.
And suddenly it makes perfect sense.
Right. So
That's how we read. We're looking for these clues that make the text meaningful.
Well, wait, that is the same system as the Evelyn Wood
No,
system,
actually, they
isn't
were
it?
much more mechanical. And also the problem with those other systems was they were more focused on speed. I'm much more interested in accelerated learning. So what would happen in a system like that is if you read a periodical chart, they tell you to read it at the same speed all the time, and your brain wouldn't absorb the details, so you go back to your old reading habits to read it, and you'd lose your speed.
All right. Well, now, obviously, the average person is going to take this course or do whatever. I guess you must have an 800 number or some kind of website that is not going to, like, in 4 hours, read 25,000 words a minute.
No. That's like if you study basketball with a leader in basketball, you're not going to beat them after 4 hours. You're going to improve your game. And what I do is teach them to improve what they're doing. Because right now we know that information's doubling every 90 days.
Right. How long does it take you to read the newspaper?
Well, I was actually tested. I was at the National Enquirer, believe it or not, about 8 years ago. And they had me read the new paper, the one that hadn't gone to press yet.
Uh-huh.
And I read it in four and a half minutes. And then they tested me for 5 hours on each article, and I got about an 85 on the main points and about a 75 on the details. And then, as a control, they had a reporter do it. It took them 90 minutes, and I got a better score on the retention.
I mean, a lot of people read, though, for leisure, and they don't want to race through.
Yes, that's a good point.
I mean,
so
yeah,
we
really,
have
that is a good point.
Approach for that. I'll give an example of that.
So you got to go on vacation. You got to bring 17 books.
Right.
Just, what do you,
cargo?
Well, actually, it's different. When people read for relaxation, it's different than studying. So first, you don't skim because you don't want to know the ending. Secondly, you speed up the boring parts. What happens in many cases is books get so boring, people can't finish them. They say, I just can't read this anymore. It's driving me crazy. It's so slow. So what I tell them is read the parts that are enjoyable at any speed that makes you feel wonderful. But the parts that are irritating and annoying that you really would not want to read anyway, use the speed reading at. So what happens is the typical book, you sped through a substantial amount of boring passages, and you slow down to enjoy the parts you like. So you're getting like the best of both worlds. You're getting the heightened pleasure that comes from a good novel and less of the irritation that comes from the slow, boring passages. That's the way I recommend pleasure reading.
We're talking to the world's fastest reader, Howard Speedy Berg. Hey,
yes.
Is it the same for you, Howard, when you're just driving down the street and you're looking at like a series of billboards? I mean, can you pick up on every little message?
Actually, I'm glad you pointed that out because I often make the analogy between reading and driving. When you're driving, you're reading the road. And where I live, you can probably tell from my accent, I'm from Texas. Where I live near Dallas.
I was guessing New York.
Texas? I thought you're from New York, big time. Texas?
Yeah, I tell them I'm French-Canadian.
Wait,
I'm just kidding. I live near Dallas.
Wait, are you really originally from Texas?
No, not originally. I am from New York.
Well, yeah.
I was gonna say
You can tell I'm from Texas by how I speak. No,
people
Howard.
sometimes tell me I sound like Woody Allen, so I say, "Son Yi, be quiet. Daddy's on the phone."
it must give you a headache there, Speedy, trying to speed read billboards and books and everything all day. I mean, your brain just
actually,
sizzling.
you're reading in the car at 50, 60, 70 miles an hour on the road, right? You read the road.
Yeah, but it's 4 words on a billboard.
Yeah,
right.
4 words
but
on a
what
billboard.
happens when you're in a book is suddenly this magnificent brain that's reading in front, back, side. You're watching your dashboard instruments and reading the road signs simultaneously. It grinds to a halt when you hit a book, and the reason's simple. When you're reading the road, you're seeing everything outside that you're looking at. When you're reading a book, instead of seeing the page, you're hearing it.
Boy,
As a conversation rather than as a movie.
Boy, Howard, this speed reading thing, this must get you chicks.
Well, women are turned on by men who can read, I have to say.
Women are turned on. But the thing is, like Barnes and I were talking about this earlier, like when you say you got to skip the boring parts, like to me, when I read a book, it's almost all boring.
The whole thing's the boring
It's
part.
like
I like to speed read because you'll get through the book quicker. Look at Bill Gates. Now, there's a guy who reads a lot. And when you've got $90 billion, it's almost like, it's like an aphrodisiac. You look like him, and everyone wants him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Speedy, you have an 800 number to get some tapes or something if people want?
Yes, it's 888
Right.
28-BRAIN, 888-28-BRAIN, or quickreader.com. And at the quickreader.com, we're giving away free tips on reading and learning, and also we're giving 2 bonus tapes for anyone who calls today, one on memory, and one is a special memory music tape and a 50% discount with a complete money-back guarantee. If you like, I could show people how to speed memorize on the air.
How to speed memorize? How long will that take?
About 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes.
You know what? We don't really have time for that.
We actually have to run. But that's a good tease. Leslie had a quick question.
Have you ever read the Bible? How long did it take you to read it if you did?
Well, I read the Bible about 15 times, and at top speed, it takes between 5 and 10 minutes.
God. Top speed.
I mean, that's just
for the whole Bible.
Unbelievable. Yeah. See, I get on that page and my mind wanders.
I know. I wander and I start.
That. In fact, there's a school here in Dallas, run by Dr. Cooney Beasley, and it's a home-based study course from church.
Yeah, Jimmy needs an attention span.
Yeah,
that's the lesson.
Thank you.
The average kid's finishing high school in 2.5 years with 48 college credits. They got one girl here. She's 18. She's an associate professor.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really helping
that was a Woody Allen moment right there where he said, she was an associate professor.
Thanks, Speedy. All right.
Thank you, Howard.
Speedy Berg.
World's fastest reader. If you sign up now, he's going to throw in a tape for his other course he teaches, speed whining. If you read a book in 14 minutes, all it would take is if you pick out the boring parts and throw them out. Then that's how you speed read. You got to get through the parts that are
I just have
boring.
a vision of this guy's pad, man.
What is this guy?
You see, it's just like comic books stacked up to the ceiling and little action figures in the corner.
But we'll be right back on 99X after I read the phone book.
The best of the Morning X with Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy. 99X.